Having contractions that are 3 minutes apart. They last about 30 to 40 seconds. And let's see if it's false labor or real labor. This is what we're driving through. Snow. At least it just started though, right?
Yeah, we're in quite a few feet on the way back.
Oh God.
This is Daddy.
This
This is Mommy. Look what you're doing to Mommy. Look at what you're doing to her. This is our hotel room that we're having you in. No, I'm just kidding. It is a hospital.
Oh.
Got some snacky snacks. But, anywho.
Little girl, you're resting
Daddy.
on my spine.
Love you, baby. Daddy and Mommy loves you. Can't wait till you come out of there.
You're gonna be right there.
You're gonna be right over there. Right there. Hey, gorgeous. Hey, what's up, cutie pie?
We're leaving the hospital. Super snowy outside, so we had to bundle her up. We're parents.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. I love you. I love you.
Am I bothering you? Well, the midwife's brew worked. My lips are crusty. Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about my birth story. If you're a first-time mom and have 20 million questions like I had, and I was so nervous for birth, then just stick with me because my birth story was good. So if you saw my last video, you're probably wondering what happened after I drank the midwife's brew. So what happened was, dude, get off my cup. What happened was I drank the brew at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was super nervous to drink it because I didn't know if I was ready to go into labor. Like my body was ready to go into labor, but was I mentally ready? I drank it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then 7:30ish p.m. is when I started getting like mild cramps. And I was like, I don't know if this is like labor pains, I don't know if this is contractions, or if this is just like gas. I stuck it out. I was like, no. My husband's like, Erin, I think this is it. I think you're like getting contractions. And I was like, no, I don't really think so. So then I had downloaded this contraction app so that I could time in between each contraction and how long each one is. And it was like pretty fast. Like they were probably 3 to 5 minutes apart already. And they were like probably a minute most long each cramp. So then I stuck it out. Me and Zaya were just laying in bed watching TV and just seeing where this was going. I also took I think 2 baths to see if it would ease my body pain, and it didn't. It just kept going. The whole time my husband was saying, I think this is it, we're going into labor. And I was like, no, let's just stick it out, let's just stick it out. So we called the hospital like 2 or 3 times because I wasn't sure if it was contractions or not. And they were just like, okay, when they're like 3 minutes apart, then start to come in. And in my head I was like, they are 3 minutes apart, but they're not like major. And she was just like, well, when you think that you're ready to come in, then come in. I was like, okay, whatever. So then around 2 o'clock in the morning is when they got really bad. Zaya was like, babe, I'm gonna get the truck packed. I think this is it, and I think we should go. And I was like, okay, fine. What's the worst that can happen? They tell us that we're not ready, and then they turn us around and we go home. Then I was like, okay, let me get dressed. I got dressed. We got the dog's food filled. We got like this automatic feeder, and then we have an automatic doggy door. It opens and closes with their collar. So we thought it'd be okay if they're home alone. Wednesday, I got the truck packed. I got dressed, and I think I took a shower too. I was like bent over the counter trying to like ease the pain between each contraction, and that's how bad it got. Like I was bent over the counter, I was bent over the bed, just trying to like stop the pain just so we can get up and go. So then we get in the truck, and of course it started snowing, and it was to that point where the roads were slick, so we were trying to be very careful. Our hospital is an hour away, so that added to the time of getting there. When it's early in the morning like that, or middle of the night or something, then you have to go through the emergency room, and then they'll take you up to labor and delivery. Zaya didn't want me walking on the ice and slipping and falling, so he dropped me off at the emergency doors, and I walk in, and I swear I was the only one there except for the lady behind the desk. I was the only one. It was quiet. As soon as I got in the doors, I just sat down, and this lady in the corner, she was like, "Can I help you?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm in labor, I think." And she was just like, "Oh, let me get you a wheelchair." We waited for my husband. He came in. You can't walk straight into labor and delivery. You have to like press this button and talk to them and tell them that we're in labor or whatever. And they knew it was us because we called a couple times. So they put us in this room. I forget what it's called. It's like a temporary room. I forget what it's called. But they put us in this room, and I was the first bed as soon as you walk in. They said, "I need you to get in this gown. We're going to check your cervix, and we need you to pee in a cup," and all that stuff. I immediately peed in the cup, and then I came back out, and two ladies came in. One was in training, and one was the trainee. They said, "Are you comfortable with me training her with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, go ahead," because somebody's got to help them. They got to learn somehow. The trainee checked my cervix, and she said, "You are 2 centimeters dilated. I'm pretty sure it's 2. So then the trainer was like, "I also have to check. Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever. I've had this done so many times already. Just get it done." Like, the pressure is so uncomfortable, but whatever. That's a whole different story. The trainer, she checked, and she said, "Yeah, I guess you are about 2 centimeters. And whenever they pulled their fingers out, their fingers were bloody, and I got worried for a second. I was like, "Is it supposed to be bloody like that?" And they're just like, "Oh yeah, this is fine. That's normal." And I was like, okay. So I just brushed that off. And my contractions just kept going. They put a heart monitor on my stomach, obviously for baby's heart rate. What else did they do? Oh, one of the worst parts was when they put the IV in my hand. She was like, "I need you to be as still as possible." This is the trainer, not the trainee. She was doing it. So she tried putting it in my hand right here, and I just kept moving, and it hurt so bad. I hated the feeling. It was probably the worst feeling besides the contractions the entire time. She said, "Okay, we're not gonna put it right there because I can't get it in your vein right there." So then she moved it over to like the middle of my hand, and then she said, "Okay, so we're gonna get your room ready, but if you want, you can get up and walk around." And my husband and I were bored and tired, so we were like, "Yeah, let's just get up and walk around." We looked out the window. It was very snowy. Like, it was probably like a foot already, and we were only in there for like an hour. Whenever we came back, this was kind of a blur for me. What happened? I think they just came up and told us, "Your room is ready. Let's head on in there." So then we did, and the room wasn't bad. It was a pretty nice room, actually. It was very comfortable and warm. A big window, but it also had like this couch, and then, oh my gosh, it was so real at that point because you could see the bassinet, and you just knew you were about to have a baby. Oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional. I'm getting chills. Hold on. Okay, so what happened after that? I just kept having labor pains, and they were asking me if I wanted Pitocin to help get me dilated further, and I think I said no. Maybe I said I don't care. I don't know. They did offer me at one point, I don't know if this was the time, but they offered me at one point if I wanted fentanyl. I was like, I think I'm good right now, which I wasn't. I was in pain, but I was trying to like fight through the pain and stuff. And I heard that you can only be on epidural for 24 hours, I think, and I didn't know how long this was gonna last, how long I was gonna be in labor for, so I tried to put off as long as I can with the epidural. But then I asked them, I said, "I heard whatever, you can only be on epidural for 24 hours. They're like, "No." do you want the epidural now? And I was like, well then yes, give it to me, hit me. So then the anesthesiologist came in. He was really cool. It was not as bad as I thought. It was like literally just a poke and you have to be as still as possible. And if you have a contraction, I don't think I had a contraction during, but you still have to be as still as possible. What it felt like, I don't know how it works, but what it felt like was he puts a needle in my back and then he has to put a tube all the way down my spine. That's what it almost felt like, but it didn't hurt. Oddly enough, it didn't hurt. After he was done putting it in, then it hit so quick and it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. My whole body from my waist down was completely numb and I immediately fell asleep. Like it was nap time. I fell asleep and I don't even know how long it was. I want to say like a few hours or something. I don't even know. But then eventually we got a new nurse. She didn't have a trainee with her, but she was probably one of the chillest nurses we had. She was chill. She knew what she was doing. She was in the business for a while. She offered everything. She was checking everything. She was just like, she had it down. My husband seemed to think that the other nurses, they weren't, how do I explain this nicely? They knew what they were doing, but not all the time. Sometimes they were questioning themselves is what it seemed like, and he didn't like that. So that day went on, and it was, I don't even know what time it is at this point, but it was like the next day, epidural still going and stuff. And then I think they did put me on Pitocin then. They put me on Pitocin so that I will dilate quicker. I remember I took another nap, but before I fell asleep, they wanted to give me the peanut ball, which is like a yoga ball, same material and everything, but it's like big. And it's literally shaped like a peanut. So you put it in between your legs and that just helps like your cervix to do its thing. I don't know exactly what it does, but they told me to do it, so I did. And lay on my side. So I laid on my side with the peanut ball in between my legs and I took another nap. I woke up and they said, are you ready to switch sides? So we switched sides and had the peanut ball in between my legs. But when I woke up from that, I had the worst back pain. I thought it was just because I was on my side, laying on my side the whole time I was sleeping, so maybe I just needed to switch positions or something. But no, that was not it. It was like back labor. Like it hurt so bad. So then I told the nurse, and she came in later on and was like, is your back still hurting? And I was like, yeah. She's like, do you want a booster, an epidural booster? And I was like, I don't know why, but I kept saying no. I think I was just trying to man up and take the pain. But I said no, and then finally they saw that I was in so much pain that they decided to give me the booster. So that didn't work. And then later on, probably about an hour later, they decided to give me another booster of epidural, but when the anesthesiologist walked out, he said that he put narcotics in with that booster, which is totally normal, whatever. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, maybe fentanyl. So I'm not sure if they gave me fentanyl or not. Either way, I didn't feel any different. That didn't even work. I still had so much back labor. My husband and I just looked at each other like, oh my God, did he just give me fentanyl? But it didn't do anything anyway. Next thing you know, they're like, it's time for you to push. And I was like, what? Where's the OB? I didn't know how this worked. And they said, oh no, we're gonna help you push, and then once the baby starts crowning, then we bring in the OB. I'm pushing. Oh, mind you, I was in labor for 27 hours. I don't know how I did that, but I did it. So I'm pushing, and they're holding my legs back with me. They even said it's best if you hold your own legs back and we'll help you on your feet or whatever. But that whole time, like I said, I was having back labor. So I said, do you guys have like a little ball or something we could put pressure on my back? And they said, no, we don't. So Zaya decided to put 2 pairs of socks together. The hospital actually gives you socks with grip on the bottom. I didn't wear them at all, but he decided to put 2 pairs of socks together and roll it, like make a ball out of it. And he was just pressing it against the point of my back that hurt so bad, and that worked like a charm. So the whole time somebody had to put pressure on my back that whole time. So whether it was a nurse or Zaya, whatever, they kept switching off. I was pushing for a total of 2 hours, and then once she started coming down further, like obviously coming out, she got towards my hips, and I think when her shoulders like hit my hips, I started getting so much hip pain. Once she started crowning, they called in the OB, and it happened to be my OB, so I was really happy about that, because the OBs, they switch out every night and day, so like you have one there at all times. Labor and delivery isn't that big. It's probably like, I want to say it probably has like maybe 6 delivery rooms, maybe more, I don't know, but it has like 6 delivery rooms, and it's like the front desk, and then it has like the temporary room that has like 4 beds in there. There's always one OB every day. That day just happened to be my OB, so I was very relieved about that, because I'm just comfortable with her and she's really cool. So she came in and she's like, you ready to have a baby? And I was like, yes, I'm ready to have a baby. She was telling me to push, and once our little girl came out, They put her on my chest, and I was bawling. I was like, I can't believe she has all 5 fingers and toes, and she's just so perfect. And she did have a little bit of the cone head, but that goes away immediately. She's just, I don't know, I have no words. It was like the perfect moment. It was like a dream of mine. Like the whole time I was pregnant, I would think about it and get a little emotional, like I'm getting emotional right now. And they keep her on your chest to have skin to skin for about 2 hours. And a lactation consultant comes in constantly and teaches you how to breastfeed and stuff. And then it's up to you to do it like every 3 hours. And the whole time, Zaya was like the perfect man. Like he was doing everything the nurses were doing, like literally, except for like actually delivering the baby. But he would have if he could, but I don't think they were gonna let him. He was so interested in the whole process. He wanted to see everything. He cut the umbilical cord, and then after that, the weirdest feeling ever. Listen, I was on epidural. I was numb from the waist down, and the weirdest feeling ever is when the placenta comes out, and it was like just warm on my butt cheek. And so what happens is at the end of the bed, they just lift up part of the mattress, and it becomes like this bucket right where your butt is, and the placenta falls straight into there. No, I didn't keep it. I was gonna capsulate them, put them in little pills and stuff, but there's really no science out there that proves that it's good for you to consume your own placenta. So I was like, okay, I'm not even gonna do it. In fact, some people say it makes them feel sick whenever they take those vitamins. So yeah, that was the weirdest feeling whenever the placenta came out. It was so warm and brushed against my butt cheek, and I was like, what was that? And they're just like, that was your placenta. And I was like, okay, gross. I asked the OB if I ripped at all, and she said, yeah, just a little bit. Turns out it was only about 2 stitches on one side, and it was more of my inner wall a little bit. The stitches fell out immediately because it wasn't even that big of a cut. I think it was the evening primrose oil pills I was taking every night and every morning that helped that. I strongly believe that helped that. Whenever I was in labor and had the epidural and was numb, they had inserted a catheter so that I couldn't get up and obviously walk on my numb legs to the bathroom. That helped a lot, but that was the first time I've ever had a catheter in me, and it was the weirdest thing ever, and I just wasn't used to it. But anyway, after birth, I asked them if I could shower. They said no, I have to wait 24 hours. They obviously took me off the epidural because I didn't need it anymore. I had the baby, and they said, let us know if you have to pee. 2 hours went by. The first thing they did was weigh her, and she was 8 pounds, 7.8 ounces. She was 21.5 inches long. Her head measured at 14. They gave her the shots that she needed. They did it at the same time, so it was just all one poke. And this girl barely cried. She didn't cry when she came out of me. She didn't cry when she got the shots. She didn't cry when she was getting weighed. She barely cried. Like, I was a little worried when they put her on my chest. I said, why isn't she crying? And they're just like, oh, it's just a quiet baby, but she's okay. Yeah, it was just a very surreal experience. After that, I think it was like 2 hours went by, and I called them and told them I had to pee, because they also have to measure my pee. I don't know what for. I'm not a nurse, but the trainee went in there, and she like walked me through everything that I needed to do. She got my peri bottle ready so I could pee. She built me like a little pad thing going on. She said, here's the supplies you need, witch hazel pads and all that stuff. They actually had that stuff for me. They had the ginormous pads for me and everything. I guess I surprised everybody when I got up to walk into the bathroom. I had 2 nurses helping me. They had each side because they thought maybe my legs were still numb. My legs were a little tingly, but I mean, I wouldn't say I was numb. What else happened? Okay, so this is something nobody told me and prepared me for birth. When you're pushing like you're pooping. So you're pushing as hard as you can like you're pooping. And when you push like that, hemorrhoids. That was probably what made my recovery hurt the most. Like, my little cut and stitches didn't hurt at all. Not one bit. It was the hemorrhoid. The hemorrhoids, that was the worst. And I'm telling you this so that you're prepared yourself, because like I said, you're pushing like you're pooping, and when you push really hard, hemorrhoids come about. Whenever I got the hemorrhoid, I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. They don't really give you anything for it. They said, okay, whenever you get out of the hospital, just get preparation H. And I was like, okay, during pregnancy, you can also get hemorrhoids. It's very common. So I actually had them during pregnancy too. So after I gave birth, it just worsened them, and it hurt so freaking bad. So I was like, do you guys have anything for it? And they're just like, preparation H when you get out of here. And I was like, well, I've been using that already while I was pregnant, and it's not really doing much. they're just like, I don't know what to tell you. I probably had like 4 nurses and 1 OB tell me, I don't know what to tell you. Just when you get out of here, get preparation H. Like all the stuff, like if you were to Google what to do about hemorrhoids, they were saying. And I was just like, you guys aren't helping. The next OB came on shift, and she came, whenever they come on, all the nurses and OBs, they come on and they introduce themselves to you. So she came in my room and she introduced herself to me, and she said, is there anything you need? And I said, something for these hemorrhoids. Like, I don't know, this is the worst part. And she was like, I can get you some hydrocortisone and see if that works. And I was like, yes, that's probably the best answer anybody has given me. I'll try hydrocortisone, because obviously preparation H isn't working for me. So she gave me some of that, and that worked the best. It took forever for the hemorrhoids to go away, but the pain went away immediately. Like, it went away, the pain went away probably after a week, but the hemorrhoid didn't go away for like almost the whole, probably for like 4 weeks. It probably took 4 or 5 weeks for the hemorrhoids to go away. The lactation consultants, they come in all the time. They probably would come in every 3 or 4 hours to check up, see if you fed her and how was it, and so that they could teach you how to breastfeed, how to grab the nipple, how to put it in her mouth, what to do. And that was pretty cool, but like, I probably had 3 different lactation consultants come in, and they all had like different methods and stuff, so they're all teaching me their methods. It really started to hurt. Breastfeeding started to hurt really bad. Like, your nipples really do get chapped, and they're not numb for a while. They don't get numb for a while after breastfeeding. Like, I could probably breastfeed right now and it'll be numb, but if I continue to breastfeed, then my nipples will get raw and hurt so bad. Like you want to cry, but you know your baby needs this, so you just stick out the pain. I am not breastfeeding anymore because I'm just not producing as much or much at all. When I was breastfeeding for probably a month straight. We are now on week 7. Baby girl is 7 weeks old, almost 2 months. I breastfed for a whole month, and I tried everything, but I just wasn't producing much. I tried body armor, warmth on my boobs, coconut water, just staying hydrated. I feel like there's so much I did. I tried pumping more often. I stopped drinking coffee because I guess caffeine can lower the production. I started drinking mother's milk tea, feeding her straight up more often. I was even eating lactation cookies. She still seemed hungry. Well, she didn't really, after I would get her off the boob, she seemed like she got enough, but it took a long time. It probably took an hour. Whenever I would pump, I probably would only pump probably about 1.5 bottles a day, and I would use that to feed her at night instead of on my boob, to give my boobs a little bit of a break. So yeah, we had to stay in the hospital for 24 hours since she was born. We left our house to go to the hospital at 2 in the morning. I didn't deliver her until 10:41 that next night. So I went a full day on epidural. That day was a blur. It was just like napping. I don't even know where the day went. I don't even know what Zay was doing, if he was napping too. I don't even know. But yeah, we had to stay in the hospital 24 hours after she was born. We were there for a total of 3 days. We were so ready to get out of there. We were pretty bored. We were worried for the dogs. We felt like they were so lonely at home. We have cameras, so we were able to check up on them and talk to them and stuff, but still. One thing I will say is I did not wear my own delivery nightgown during birth. I did my research before giving birth, and somebody said it just gets nasty, so they threw it away. I didn't want to waste that money. I paid for that, so, and especially since I can use it at home too. I just kept the hospital gown on me the whole time and threw that away after. Once they said I could shower, I immediately got in my like postpartum robe, and she had a matching outfit. I'll tell you what, that shower was great. That was a great, not the shower itself, but just taking a shower felt so freaking good to wash off all the nastiness from birth. I don't know, it just felt great, and I felt very strong, and I felt I wasn't in pain at all whenever I was showering and all that stuff. Like, I just felt good. But then once we got home is when the hemorrhoids were hurting, and I was just in so much freaking pain. I was also taking prenatals before I gave birth. Every single day they come in and they bring you a prenatal in the morning. So that was pretty cool too. I didn't expect that at all. And they give you a, they ask you if you want stool softener. And I said yes, because my hemorrhoids, obviously. Once they said we can go home, they provided us with like all this information on how to take care of a baby. If you're worried about this, do this. If it gets to this extent, then contact the hospital. They gave us like a whole rundown on how to take care of a baby, and just so you know that we're here for you. If you want to call and ask questions, if you want to come in at any time, we're here for you. They said you can call and immediately make lactation appointments anytime you want, and we will make time for you. It was really nice going home. It was pretty cold outside, but It was just an odd feeling carrying a baby outside of the hospital for the first time and getting her in the truck, and I sat in the back seat with her. I didn't know what to expect, so I didn't know if she would cry, what she liked, what she didn't like, so I sat in the back seat with her. Before I gave birth, I did not have a birth plan at all. Like I said, my plan was to go into labor whenever I went into labor, whether that meant at work or not, even though they didn't want me at work at the time. Whenever it happened, and I was just gonna let the hospital do their thing and deliver my baby. Where we live, they have a pretty good, they have like a whole street of medical. They have like dentists right there, they have the OB's office, the pediatricians, the whole hospital, everything on one street. It's pretty amazing. I trusted it. So I didn't feel the need to have a birth plan. I did not have a midwife. I did not have a doula. I didn't have any of that. I didn't really care for any of it. I just knew labor and delivery delivers babies all the time, so it was all in their hands. After we were home and getting to know her, Zaya stayed home with me for probably about, I want to say 4 days, but he can't sit around doing nothing that long because he gets so antsy and he feels like he needs to be doing something at all times. So after like 4 days, he decided to go back to work. Zaya doesn't get an automatic paycheck like I do because I work for the government and he has his own business, so he has to actually do the jobs to earn the money. And so after day 4, he decided to go back to work, and that is like when all my hormones from pregnancy and birth just hit me. I was just very emotional about him going back to work. Like, I felt like I was gonna be lonely at home. The feeling you get is just unexplainable, really. It really is. It's like you don't know why you're feeling the way you are. You don't know why you're crying. It's just I even explained this to my OB at my 6-week appointment, and she was like, I totally understand. She's like, you don't even know why you're crying. I was like, I really didn't. As for my body surprised me a little bit. I didn't really recognize myself. I thinned out pretty quicker than I thought. I thought I was gonna have a baby belly for the longest time, but immediately I didn't have a baby belly, like at all, since I've been home. I'm gonna be honest with you, we didn't use much that we brought with us in the suitcase. One thing I highly suggest you bring is a Stanley cup. I brought my Stanley cup and they literally refilled it for me all the time. The nurses did. Every time they saw that it was empty, they came in and refilled it for me. I don't know why, but after I gave birth, all I wanted was apple juice in the hospital, so they just kept coming up with apple juice and filled up my Stanley cup with it, and that came in clutch. It really did. It really did. Another thing I used was my postpartum robe and then a lot of her clothes, and then I brought my husband clothes. I used my slippers and his slippers. The chargers, used the chargers. You know, we didn't need everything that I brought in the hospital bag, but I'm glad it was there just in case I did need it. The hospital did provide a lot, but I also used a lot of my own pads and my dermaplast and all that. They didn't have dermaplast. Literally all they gave me was witch hazel pads and the pads themselves. I believe that's it. So whatever I brought for myself, I used. And I found what helped me best. Witch hazel doesn't give me the cooling sensation. Like, I don't feel it. Like, and if it does, then it doesn't last that long. So I use a dermaplast because it numbs everything, and I just sprayed it directly on the pad, and that's pretty much all I did. That worked the best for me. I didn't even use padsicles. I attempted to use padsicles, and like I said, the cooling doesn't last very long, so I thought it was pointless. I think probably the best thing that I brought to the hospital was the dermaplast and the Stanley cup, for sure. But before I gave birth, I was like so nervous. I was praying for no C-section. I was praying that my baby is healthy. I was praying that it didn't rip all the way to my... I was just thinking of all the things that could go bad, but really it wasn't that bad at all. Like, I took care of myself and my body took care of me, if that makes sense. I just wanted to let you guys know about my birth story because I used to go on TikTok. I used to just write in birth story and people would tell me all their horror birth stories. Some people say don't look up just birth story, look up like positive birth stories. So this is my positive birth story for you guys. It's not that bad. You will be okay. And it's quick. If so many other women out there can do it, then so can you. It was such an experience and I would never take it back. In fact, I would do it again. We named her Harlow Ray, Harlow, and then Ray because I had a cousin named Rachel and her nickname was Ray. And also my dad's middle name is Ray. So Harlow Ray is her name. So yeah, thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below and I'll be happy to answer them. This has been such a journey and I am so thankful for where we are in life right now. I am so thankful for our little angel. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and press that like button and press that bell notification button so you can get notified every time we share with you a little piece of our lives. And I hope to see you back here soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.